Okay.
Most people don't realize that the vast majority of enslaved Africans were sent to South America, not to the United States. And this is why Brazil has the largest black diaspora outside of the African continent. So when we talk about people of African descent in Brazil, we're talking about 56 million people. You talk about a state in Brazil called Bahia. What happened in Bahia, and why is it important in terms of Muslim history?
So Bahia is extremely interesting because Bahia was a section of Brazil that had a large population of West African, enslaved West Africans. But not only that, they had a large percentage of those enslaved West Africans happened to be Muslim. And they were more free to practice their faith during the early stages of the transatlantic slave trade then. And so for many of them, they established mosques, they established Quranic schools, they established Muslim community centers amongst the slave plantations, and they continued to practice their faith. And West Africans from different ethnic groups found solidarity and unity in the fact that they could meet other Muslims. And so you'd see, for example, Wolof, enslaved Wolof from Senegal and Gambia, enslaved Mandinka from Mali, enslaved Fulani from Guinea, enslaved Yoruba and even Hausa and Nupe from Nigeria, all uniting together and practicing Islam, praying together, fasting the month of Ramadan together in Brazil, in these plantations, and teaching the Quran and studying the Quran, as they had learned scholars amongst them who had studied in seminaries such as Timbuktu and many different places across West Africa. And so what ends up happening is that the Muslim slaves, the enslaved Muslims, decide to gather together and revolt. And they establish a revolution which is known as the Male Revolt. And the word Male is interesting because it has a double meaning. In Yoruba, Male refers to the religion of Islam because Islam entered into the Yoruba through Mali. And so the religion of Islam is called Esim Male in Yoruba, which means the religion of the people of Mali. And then that again refers to the empire of Mali and the vast legacy that they had in spreading Islam in West Africa. And so these West African Muslims all gathered together and they had this revolt to try and free themselves from slavery. And it was all due to the fact that they were Muslims and they could gather together and plan in the masajid, in the schools, etc. And so as a result of this revolt, unfortunately, they did not succeed. And the King of Portugal then bans Islam and the practice of Islam amongst slave populations and starts to enforce forced conversion to Catholicism and tries to stamp out Islam and tries to stamp out the importing of slaves that come from Muslim majority regions in Africa. But they continue to grow and they continue to practice to the point that they had a community of over 100,000 Muslims.